So what we want to do first is to develop our pictures that we will be transferring into star stacks. First picture, I'm just going to pick one picture. I've taken away all the settings. Here you can see the settings that I had. I was in a very dark area, so I wasn't worried about light pollution. I was able to do 2 minutes, widest aperture with this lens, which is a 3.5, and I cranked up the ISO for 800. So for 120 seconds, I took a few hours worth. I'm just going to show basic development and go to exposure and really crank that up. Go to some contrast to show. Increase in clarity to bump it up. Let's throw a little dehaze in here. And take that exposure back down. This is where you start playing with your settings a little bit to see what's happening with your stars. It's not going to show as well with me videoing my computer screen, but this will give you the idea. Also, I'm going to do a lens correction to my image. And what that does with any camera that you have, regardless of the quality of the lens, you have some chromatic aberrations on the corners or the edges where your camera lens is allowing light to bend. So here's the before and then after. That's just a little bit of editing. Now, I want to lighten up this foreground here. Of course, to you it looks really bright, but it's not what I'm looking at. So I'm just going to use a little bit of graduated filter. Bump up my exposure on here. You can see that could really overkill, but one good way of learning, regardless of what program you're using, is using your sliders going left or right just to see what types of things pop up for you. Get the idea. I would do a lot more. I could do a lot more to this picture, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to pick about, let's see how many that is. That's 40 of them. Let's go to about 30. So here's 34. I'm going to sync all those settings together. So all the settings I just did to the one image will be transferred to the other 33. Now, after I do that, I'm going to export those pictures to my desktop so it's easier for me to get to. So I'm just going to put desktop. This is the dark skies of Palo Duro. So I'll just put the name of here. And I want it, however I take the image, I want to make sure and export it as JPEG. So if I've taken RAW, which I did, I'm going to export it as JPEG. Star Stacks requires JPEG. Now I'm going to export and pause.